You're paying thousands of dollars for education. You're legally an adult. You can vote, join the military, and sign contracts. But according to your university, you can't be trusted to light a candle, have a guest past midnight, or clap your hands at a student assembly. Universities have created rule books so absurd, so infantilizing, and so spectacularly stupid that they make prison regulations look reasonable. We're not talking about ancient history. These rules exist right now, enforced by administrators with clipboards and zero sense of irony, from Ivy League institutions to small-town colleges. The academic world has produced regulations that would make dictators blush. Get ready, because we're counting down 50 of the dumbest, most ridiculous, and genuinely unbelievable university rules that somehow still exist in the modern world. Number 1, let's start with a rule so absurd it sounds like satire. At several universities in the United Kingdom, student unions have officially banned clapping at events and assemblies. The replacement? Jazz hands. Students are required to wave their hands silently in the air instead of applauding, because the sound of clapping might trigger anxiety in some attendees. Imagine graduating after 4 years of academic struggle, walking across the stage to receive your diploma, and being greeted by thousands of people silently wiggling their fingers at you. This is what higher education has become, a place where the sound of human appreciation is considered too dangerous for adult students to handle. Number 2, Brigham Young University has a rule that would make the Victorian era proud. Students are forbidden from growing beards without obtaining an official medical exemption. To legally have facial hair on campus, you must visit the Student Health Center, explain why you need a beard, receive a doctor's approval, and carry a physical beard card that you must present if questioned by campus authorities. Security guards are authorized to stop and question any bearded student. In the year where people are exploring space tourism, this university requires a doctor's note to grow hair on your face. Number 3, at Bob Jones University in South Carolina, students of opposite genders are forbidden from making eye contact for longer than 3 seconds. The rule is designed to prevent romantic attractions from forming. Students must also maintain physical distance and cannot be alone together in any private setting. Couples who wish to date must first obtain permission from the administration and then conduct their entire relationship under supervision. The university has essentially banned human chemistry and replaced it with a bureaucratic approval process for looking at another person. Number 4, many American universities require all students living on campus to purchase a mandatory meal plan, even if they never eat a single meal in the dining hall. These plans often cost thousands of dollars per semester and cannot be refused or refunded. Students with dietary restrictions, religious requirements, medical conditions, or simple preferences for cooking their own food are still forced to pay. You can be a 22-year-old adult capable of feeding yourself, but the university has decided you must pay for food you'll never eat. It's a mandatory subscription to a service you didn't request and cannot cancel. Number 5, Oral Roberts University in Oklahoma has a rule requiring all students to wear fitness trackers and log a minimum number of aerobic exercise minutes per week. The university monitors your physical activity as a graduation requirement. If you don't meet your exercise quota, your grades can be affected. You could write a brilliant thesis, ace every exam, and master your subject completely. But if you didn't log enough steps on your tracker, your academic record suffers. The university has made your cardiovascular health a matter of official academic evaluation. Number 6, at Pensacola Christian College in Florida, students are forbidden from watching movies rated higher than G without special permission. PG rated films require administrative approval. Anything rated PG-13 or above is essentially banned. These are legal adults, old enough to vote and serve in combat, who cannot watch a movie with mild violence or a single curse word without permission from school authorities. The entertainment options for students are limited to children's cartoons and nature documentaries. University has apparently decided that adults cannot handle the same content shown to 13-year-olds. Number 7, many universities have created designated free speech zones, small marked areas on campus, where students are permitted to exercise their constitutional right to free expression. Outside Inside these tiny zones, which sometimes constitute less than 1% of campus grounds, free speech is effectively restricted or banned. You can pay full tuition, walk across a campus your money helps maintain, and be told that you're right. To speak freely only exists in one specific concrete square near the parking lot. The rest of the university is apparently a free speech-free zone. Number 8 at Liberty University. Students are forbidden from dancing. The rule against dancing is part of a broader lifestyle code that students must sign before enrollment. This ban includes all forms of dancing, anywhere, at any time. Students cannot dance at weddings they attend. They cannot dance at family celebrations. They cannot dance in their own homes during breaks if it violates the spirit of the agreement. A university in the 21st century has officially banned the movement of human bodies to rhythm, treating choreography as a disciplinary offense. Number 9. Most university dormitories have strict rules about pets, and the regulations around fish specifically border on bureaucratic insanity. Many schools allow fish, but only in tanks under 10 gallons. Some specify that tanks must be under 5 gallons. Others ban fish entirely because of the electrical hazard posed by tank filters. A few permit fish but ban fish tanks, creating an impossible regulatory puzzle. One university allows fish only if they're in sealed ecosystems that require no feeding. The amount of administrative energy devoted to regulating tiny aquatic creatures in student rooms defies comprehension. Number 10. Wheaton College in Illinois bans students from consuming alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis. That's fairly common at religious institutions, but they also ban dancing, gambling of any kind, and attending movie theaters. The twist is that these restrictions don't just apply while you're on campus or during the semester. They apply year-round, even when you're home for summer vacation. The university claims jurisdiction over your behavior 3,000 miles away at your parents' house in August. Your lifestyle choices during Christmas break are officially the university's business. Number 11. At Patrick Henry College in Virginia, students are required to evacuate their dorm rooms during breaks and cannot return until officially authorized. But here's the absurd part. If you accidentally leave an item behind and need to retrieve it during a break, you must file a formal request, schedule an accompanied retrieval time, and be escorted by staff to your own room to collect your own belongings. You're paying to live there, but accessing your own space requires a bureaucratic application and a chaperone. Number 12. Many universities have banned hoverboards completely from campus, not just inside buildings, everywhere. Students who paid hundreds of dollars for these devices cannot use them on sidewalks, paths, parking lots, or any university property. The stated reason is usually fire risk from batteries or injury concerns. Meanwhile, students can ride bicycles, skateboards, and scooters that arguably pose greater collision risks. Universities have determined that one specific category of personal transportation is too dangerous for adults who are trusted to conduct laboratory experiments with actual hazardous materials. Number 13. Some universities have implemented mandatory pronoun disclosure policies requiring professors to share their pronouns at the start of every class and email signature. At the same time, other universities have banned professors from asking students their pronouns, claiming it could create uncomfortable pressure. The result is a patchwork of contradictory rules where the same action is mandatory at one institution and forbidden at another. Academics whose job is teaching critical thinking are forced to navigate regulations that contradict each other depending on which campus they're standing on. Number 14. At Oral Roberts University, students are forbidden from entering the dormitory room of anyone of the opposite sex ever, not even for a second to borrow a textbook, not even with the door wide open and multiple witnesses. The rooms of opposite gender students are treated as biohazard zones, requiring complete avoidance. Two students working on a group project together must meet in public spaces only. The university has essentially declared that adult men and women cannot share indoor space without supervision. Number 15. Many universities require students to pay mandatory activity fees that fund clubs, organizations, and events they may never attend and philosophically oppose. You might be required to financially support political organizations you disagree with, religious groups outside your faith, or recreational activities you find objectionable. Attempts to opt out are typically denied. You cannot refuse. You cannot redirect your money. You simply pay for for a buffet of campus activities whether you partake or not. It's a mandatory subscription to extracurriculars you didn't Christian College. Members of the opposite sex are forbidden from swimming at the same time. Even looking at the beach area when the opposite gender is swimming is prohibited. If male students are swimming, female students must avoid that entire section of campus. The ocean itself, visible from campus, creates regulatory challenges. Students have been disciplined for glancing in the wrong direction. Water and human bodies in combination have been classified as too dangerous for adult eyes without strict gender segregation enforced by campus monitors. Number 17. Harvard University once maintained a rule that freshmen were forbidden from wearing specific clothing items that were reserved for upperclassmen. First-year students could not wear certain colors or styles that signified senior status. This wasn't medieval Europe. This was an elite American university, maintaining clothing-based class distinct ions between students paying identical tuition. The rule has since been relaxed, but for generations, Harvard policed what teenagers could wear based on how many years they'd been enrolled. Number 18. Many universities ban electric kettles from dormitory rooms, forcing international students who rely on hot water for tea, noodles, and basic cooking to either violate rules or give up fundamental food preparation. The fire risk from a kettle is cited as justification. Meanwhile, the same universities permit hair straighteners, curling, irons, and space heaters that pose arguably greater fire risks. The specific targeting of kettles appears less about safety and more about regulations written without considering that people from other countries might have different basic needs. Number 19. At Cedarville University in Ohio, all students must sign a community covenant agreeing not to drink alcohol for their entire enrollment. This applies even during summer breaks, even for students over 21, and even when traveling abroad to countries where drinking is culturally normal. A 23-year-old graduate student visiting France for research technically violates university policy by having wine with dinner. The university has declared global jurisdiction over the legal beverage choices of adults on vacation. Number 20. Some universities have banned students from using social media platforms to criticize the institution, faculty, or administration. Posting negative comments about your university experience can result in disciplinary action, even if everything you wrote is factually accurate. Students paying tens of thousands of dollars annually are forbidden from publicly stating that the service they purchased isn't meeting their expectations. Customer feedback is prohibited when the customer is a student and the business is a university. Number 1. At Cornell University, students were once required to pass a swimming test to graduate. This requirement existed regardless of your major, career goals, or personal circumstances. You could complete a perfect academic record in engineering, but without demonstrating your ability to tread water, no diploma. This rule has historical roots in an era when drowning was a leading cause of death, but its continued enforcement into the modern era meant students with water phobias, physical disabilities, or simply different priorities had to master swimming before being considered educated. Number 22. Many universities prohibit chalk writing on outdoor sidewalks and pathways, even for approved student organizations announcing legitimate events. The reasoning is that chalk creates an untidy appearance, despite the fact that rain removes it naturally within hours. Student groups wanting to promote authorized campus activities must instead pay for printed materials or approved signage. Free temporary communication using a substance children use on playgrounds has been bureaucratically banned in spaces students pay thousands of dollars to occupy. Number 3. At Bob Jones University, interracial dating was officially banned until the year 2000. Students could be expelled for dating someone of a different race. The university only changed this policy after significant public pressure and media attention during a presidential campaign visit. A rule that would be unconstitutional if enacted by government was enforced for decades by an educational institution in a country that had passed civil rights legislation 35 years earlier. This isn't ancient history. Students affected by this rule are barely middle-aged today. Number 24. Some universities have banned professors from providing trigger warnings before difficult content, arguing that students must confront challenging material. Other universities have mandated trigger warnings before any potentially sensitive content. Arguing students deserve advance notice. Professors are caught between contradictory institutional demands, where the same pedagogical choice is required at one school and prohibited at another. The academic debate about how to teach has become a compliance issue, where educators face punishment for following their professional judgment either way. Number 5 at many universities, students are forbidden from subletting their off-campus apartments during study abroad semesters, even though they're still paying rent. Lease agreements and university housing contracts often prohibit any transfer of occupancy, so students continue paying for apartments they cannot use, cannot afford, and cannot legally allow anyone else to occupy. The combination of university, policy, and landlord agreements creates a financial trap where students pay double housing costs, while gaining zero benefit from one of those payments. Number 6 Pensacola Christian College forbids students from listening to most contemporary music. Genres, rock, pop, hip-hop, country, and electronic music are all prohibited. Jazz is restricted. Even classical music performed by secular orchestras is viewed with suspicion. The approved music list is so narrow that students essentially can only listen to hymns and university-approved religious recordings. Adults in higher education are told that specific combinations of sounds entering their ears constitute rule violations worthy of disciplinary action. Number 7 Many universities have banned extension cords from dormitory rooms, citing fire risk. Only power strips with surge protectors are allowed. However, the electrical outlets in old dormitory rooms are often so poorly placed that students cannot reach them without extension cords. The rule creates an impossible situation where compliance requires not using electronics or physically rearranging furniture in ways that block exits or violate other safety rules. Students must choose which regulations to break, because following all of them simultaneously is architecturally impossible. Number 8 at the Citadel Military College. Freshmen were historically forbidden from walking on grass. Only upperclassmen could take shortcuts across lawns. First-year students were required to use sidewalks and pathways at all times, adding minutes to every journey across campus. The rule had no practical purpose beyond establishing hierarchy and teaching obedience through arbitrary inconvenience. New students demonstrated their subordinate status by literally walking longer distances than their peers. Number 29 Some universities have banned students from recording lectures, even for personal study purposes. Professors claim intellectual property rights over their spoken words. Students with learning disabilities who benefit from replay are sometimes denied this accommodation. The information being delivered, which students paid to receive, cannot be captured for review without violating policy. You can pay for a lecture, attend the lecture, take notes on the lecture, but pressing record crosses a line into prohibited territory. Number 30 at many universities, dormitory room inspections can occur with minimal notice and allow staff to search personal belongings for prohibited items. Candles, incense, hot plates, toasters, certain medications, and countless other ordinary household items can result in fines or discipline. These are adults living in spaces they pay for, subjected to search policies that would require warrants if conducted by police. The university has more authority to examine your belongings than law enforcement does. Number 31 Liberty University requires students to attend a minimum number of convocation services, which are religious assemblies held multiple times per week. Attendance is monitored electronically. Missing too many services affects your academic standing regardless of your grades. You can maintain a perfect GPA, but if you skip enough chapel sessions, you face academic consequences. Religious participation has been transformed into a measurable academic metric with graduation. IMPLICATIONSNUMBER 30 to some universities have implemented policies requiring all emails to faculty include specific formal elements, a greeting, the student's full name and ID number, course information, and a professional closing. Emails lacking these elements may be ignored. Students messaging. Professors with quick questions must compose formal business correspondence. A simple question that could be answered in seconds requires bureaucratic packaging to be acknowledged. Academic communication has been burdened with procedural requirements that serve no educational purpose. Number 33 at Brigham Young University, Idaho. Students are forbidden from wearing shorts, jeans with holes, or flip-flops in campus buildings. The dress code requires modest, professional attire at all times. Students attending class on hot summer days must still wear full-length pants and closed-toe shoes. Clothing appropriate for weather conditions violates policy. The university has prioritized aesthetic standards over student comfort in climates where temperatures regularly exceed 90 prohibit students from having guests stay overnight in dormitories or limit overnight visitors to a small number per semester. Some require guests to be registered 24 hours in advance with identification presented. At front desks, if your parent wants to visit and stay in your room, they must be logged in official university systems. Your own family requires advanced bureaucratic clearance to sleep in a room you pay thousands of dollars to occupy. Number 35 at some universities. Student organizations must give weeks of advance notice before holding any public demonstration or protest, file formal paperwork, specify exact locations and times, and receive administrative approval. Spontaneous response to current events is bureaucratically impossible. By the time approval comes through, the moment has passed. The constitutional right to assemble has been transformed into an administrative application process that defeats its fundamental purpose. Number 36 Pensacola Christian College enforces mandatory dating chaperones. Students who wish to go on dates must bring a third party approved by the university. Couples cannot be alone together anywhere at any time. Every romantic interaction occurs under observation. Adults paying for higher education are forbidden from experiencing normal human relationships without university-sanctioned supervision. Number 37 Many universities have banned hammocks from campus grounds. Students cannot hang hammocks between trees for studying or relaxation, citing potential damage to trees and liability concerns if someone falls. A student can climb the same tree and sit on a branch legally, but suspending fabric between branches crosses into prohibited behavior. The specific act of comfortable outdoor lounging has been administratively outlawed. Number 38 At some universities, students are forbidden from accessing certain campus buildings after specific hours, even if they need to complete projects. Art students cannot use studios late at night. Science students are locked out of laboratories. The facilities they pay to access become unavailable during hours when many students do their best work. Academic buildings funded by tuition become off-limits to the students whose money maintains them. Number 39 Some universities require students to maintain specific GPA thresholds to live in campus housing, effectively making homelessness a consequence of academic struggle. Students who fail courses can lose their dormitory rooms, forcing them to find off-campus housing while dealing with academic difficulties. The punishment for struggling academically is having your housing stability removed, which historically makes academic recovery even harder. Number 40 At Cedarville University, students are forbidden from attending parties where alcohol is present. Even if the student doesn't drink, simply being in a location where alcohol exists violates policy. A 22-year-old student attending a family wedding where champagne is served technically breaks university rules. The presence of alcohol in your environment, regardless of your personal consumption choices, constitutes a disciplinary issue. Number 41 Many universities ban personal refrigerators over a certain size from dormitory rooms, typically under 4 cubic feet. Students cannot store normal amounts of food. A standard mini fridge that could hold a week's worth of groceries violates policy. Students are forced to choose between constant small grocery trips, relying entirely on meal plans, or violating housing regulations. The ability to feed yourself efficiently has been regulated into difficulty. Number 40 Some universities have banned professors from being friends with students on social media platforms. Facebook connections, Instagram follows, and Twitter interactions are all prohibited or heavily regulated. The reasoning involves professional boundaries, but the result is that mentorship relationships that naturally extend into digital spaces are officially forbidden. In an era when professional networking happens online, students are blocked from normal connection with mentors. Number 3 At Bob Jones University, students must maintain specific hairstyle standards. Men's hair cannot touch the ears or collar. Women's hair must be styled modestly, without extreme colors or cuts. The exact definitions of acceptable grooming are detailed in lengthy policy documents. Adults in higher education must comply with hair regulations that specify precise measurements and approved styles. Your academic career depends partly on how many millimeters of hair extends past your EARLOBES. Number 40 for many universities charge mandatory technology fees for computer labs and services that students never use because they own personal laptops. These fees are non-refundable and non-optional regardless of whether you ever touch a university. Computer, students pay for computer access they don't need, printer credits they'll never use, and software subscriptions for programs they've already purchased. The fee structure charges everyone for services only some students require. Number 5 at some universities, food delivery drivers are forbidden from entering dormitory buildings, requiring students to meet deliveries at external doors or lobby areas. During bad weather, late at night, or when students are ill, they must still travel to building perimeters to receive food, the convenience of delivery. The entire point of the service is bureaucratically canceled. You can order food to your building but not to your building. Number 46, some universities have implemented policies requiring students to attend a minimum percentage of classes regardless of their academic performance. A student who aces every exam, completes every assignment perfectly, and demonstrates complete mastery of material can fail if their attendance falls below threshold. Physical presence is graded separately from learning, the ability to succeed, without constant supervision, is administratively punished. Number 7 at many universities, students are forbidden from having lofted beds higher than a certain height, even if the lofting kit was purchased from the university itself. The schools that sell bed lifting equipment also ban its use above specific elevations. Students buy products from their universities that become policy violations when properly installed. The institution profits from selling items and then penalizes their logical use. Number 48, some universities ban electric blankets and heating pads from dormitory rooms, leaving students in poorly heated buildings without personal temperature control options. The fire risk from heating pads used for menstrual pain or chronic conditions is deemed unacceptable. Students with genuine medical needs for heating devices must navigate exemption processes. Basic comfort tools are treated as dangerous contraband, requiring special permission. Number 9 at Pensacola Christian College, students are forbidden from going to beaches without university supervision and approval. Florida, a state surrounded by ocean, contains a college where adults cannot visit the beach independently. The proximity of water to young people requires institutional oversight. Students must organize official beach trips with chaperones and approved schedules. Spontaneous sand and surf experiences violate policy. We've covered 49 absurd university rules. Before we reveal number 50, it's time for our verdict. In our opinion, the most unbelievable rule on today's list has to be the mandatory beard cards at Brigham Young University. The idea that an adult in higher education requires a doctor's note to grow facial hair, must carry official beard documentation, and can be stopped by campus security for hair-related questioning represents a level of institutional control that's genuinely difficult to comprehend. This isn't medieval Europe. This is a modern university requiring medical exemptions for biology. Do you agree with our choice? Did another rule seem more absurd to you? Share your verdict in the comments below. Number 50 and now our final entry. At multiple universities, students have been penalized for laughing too loudly in libraries, not disrupting others with conversation, not playing music, not making phone calls, simply laughing. The natural human response to humor has been deemed a disciplinary offense in academic spaces. Students studying together who encounter something funny must suppress their reactions or face official consequences. Joy itself has been regulated. The sound of human happiness in a place of learning constitutes a rules violation. This is perhaps the perfect symbol of everything wrong with university administration, an institution that has found a way to ban laughter.